Well, today we are wrapping up our series, New Faith, and I just want to say it's been such a powerful few weeks together, and we have talked about how we can learn to trust God in new ways, to be obedient to Him, and to grow deeper in our walk with Him. Go with me to Luke 14. And we're going to read two verses, Luke 14, verses 25 to 27. It reads like this: Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." I want to read that one more time. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate their father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." Imagine a politician running for office, and he stands in front of the crowd during campaign season and he shouts out these words. He says, "If you vote for me, you're going to lose your home. If you vote for me, I'm going to increase your taxes and your wages are going to go down. If you vote for me, forget about retirement." Who's going to sign up? Imagine if a politician gets up and says that. I mean, the confusion that would come over people. Like, did he just say that out loud? And essentially, that's what Jesus is saying. You want to be my disciple? You want to be my disciple? Oh, it's going to come at a cost. And the words are so strong. If you don't hate your father and mother, your parents, your children, you cannot be my disciple. I mean, that is not how you win people over. That is not how you start a movement. That's not how you build influence or grow a following. What is Jesus saying here? And yet, in the Bible, we are called to love these people, right? Exodus 20, honor your parents, right? Ephesians 5, you must love your wife. Ephesians 6, you must care for your children. Is this Jesus who is mild and meek? Is this Jesus who said, "By this you will know you are my disciple, by your love"? Is this the Jesus that prophet Isaiah said he is the Prince of Peace? I mean, if an unchurched person is reading this scripture portion, you know what they would say? They would say this: this is hate speech. That's what they would conclude. This is hate speech. I mean, is this the Jesus that you guys talk about? How Jesus is so merciful and loving and forgiving? And is this the same person saying all of this? It's shocking. It's almost offensive. But you see, Jesus isn't trying to market discipleship. He's not doing that. It's almost as if he's like warning them. Are you sure you want to be my disciple? Are you sure you want to sign up for this? He's revealing what it really means to follow him. You see, he's not after hype. He is after hearts that are fully his. He's after hearts that are fully his. You know, C.S. Lewis once described our hearts like a house. It's like Jesus is, we sometimes treat Jesus like he's our, weekend guest. Come on, let's be honest. Our guests don't get full access to our house. Do they? No. That's your room, that one. Right? They don't rummage through all the closet doors and open every door that's visible. They don't do that. You'll kick them out of the house. But sometimes I feel like that's how we treat Jesus, like he is a guest in the house. Jesus, you can have this room, but not this corner of our house. Okay, fine, you can come into the kitchen. You can be in the living room. Just don't go upstairs. Not this door. Not this door, please. That's how we treat Jesus. We give him access to certain parts of our lives because we want to hold on to control. But what does Jesus want? What does Jesus want? He wants full access. He wants complete control of our lives. He wants access to every room, every area of our heart, even the places where we just cannot let go of control. He's saying, I want that. Jesus wants all those areas that are hard to let go. It's as if he's saying to the crowd, before you get excited about following me, make sure you really understand what you are signing up for. I mean, this is not the kind of message that you would share with people who are trying to follow him. This is not the kind of message you would shout when you're trying to build a movement called Christianity. Again, he's not chasing crowds, he's pursuing committed hearts. Why? Because he knows that shallow commitment won't survive trials. That's what he knows about us. He knows that half-hearted Christians won't survive deep trials. And how many of you know people that have gone away from the Lord, that have gone away from the church, that have gone away from the faith because of some trials? They couldn't stand firm. You see, friends, he's not calling us to be fans who admire from distance. He's calling us to be followers who walk closely, even when it costs us. He's not asking you to wear a label. He's not asking you to wear a cross even. You know what he's asking you to do? He's asking you to carry the cross daily. That's the cost of discipleship. So true discipleship means giving Jesus full ownership of your life. No part held back. No one ranked higher. There shouldn't be any competition. Full access, complete control. In this passage, Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem, where he will ultimately be crucified. And along the way, large crowds are following him, likely amazed by his miracles, intrigued by his teachings, or simply caught up in the hype. But Jesus says something unexpected. He turns towards the crowd and gives them a hard word. He says, if anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Why is Jesus talking like this? What is going on? You see, Jesus is using hyperbole to make a profound or powerful point. He's not saying to literally hate your family. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, if you want to follow me, it's going to cost you everything. It's going to cost you everything. Your love for him should be so deep. Your love for him should be so full on that every other relationships, even the one closest to you, pales in comparison. How does that sound? I mean, are you a disciple of Christ? Are you really a disciple of Christ? So no, this isn't hate speech. It is a heart check. This is a heart check. He's saying, I don't want a piece of your heart. I want the whole thing. I want all of you. Every area of your life. Following him means letting go of things that you want to hold on to. Things like approval. control, power, pride. But when you learn to surrender what you once held on to, you receive something you could never earn. Life in Christ, purpose that endures, identity that's secure, and hope that cannot be shaken. Now, here's how Jesus drives this point home. He gives us two striking illustrations in verses 28 to 33. He helps the crowd understand what he's talking about. He says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete? For if you lay the foundation and you're not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and wasn't able to finish. Then he says, or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he's able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he's not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still a long way off and will ask for terms of peace. Then he says, in the same way, those of you who do not give up everything, you cannot be my disciples. Jesus doesn't want impulsive followers. He doesn't want impulsive followers. He wants intentional followers who have thought through, who have calculated, who have done the math. Let me ask you, in your own life, do you sit down and calculate? Do you pause and think about what it's going to cost you? Do you really think through, wow, I really got to make time. Schedule's very busy, but I really got to make time. I really got to make time to pray. I got to make time to read the Word. I got to make time to love those around me. I got to make time to maybe even share the gospel with somebody. I got to get creative. I got to think through these things. Yes, it's going to come at a cost. Comfort, time. I don't know, maybe more pressure if you're sharing the gospel and if you're not used to that. But that's the kind of person Jesus is looking for, not impulsive followers. He wants us to think it through. You see, before anyone makes a major decision, what do? They stop. They sit down. I mean, if you have a major decision that you need to make, you do this. You think through, you calculate, you do the math. Why? Because no one wants to start something that they cannot finish. Jesus is essentially saying, same is true. Same is true with discipleship. If you want to follow me, you need to sit, pause, reflect, think through, calculate, do the math. What is it going to cost you? Yes, on a daily basis. What does it mean to carry the cross on a daily basis? I love how the late Walter Liefelder, respected New Testament professor at Trinity Divinity School, put it. He said, discipleship requires a conscious, advanced commitment made with the realistic estimate of the ultimate personal cost. Listen to what he's saying. Sounds like you're at work. Discipleship requires a conscious, advanced commitment made with the realistic estimate of the ultimate personal cost. In other words, again, he's not looking for impulsive followers. He's looking for intentional ones, people who have thought it through and decided he's worth everything. That Jesus is worth everything. And to drive this point home, Jesus gives us two powerful examples, and that's what we just read. One from construction and one from combat. And it's powerful. Jesus gives the picture of a man who wants to build a tower. Let's modernize it. Let's say you want to build a home. and there's a vacant property. And he's so excited. He's ecstatic. He wants to build his dream home, and so he drives by every morning. And he just dreams of what could be in this place, in this vacant lot. And he can't wait. When spring comes, he's ready. He gets his hands on a few tools. He tells the construction company to come pour in some concrete to lay the foundation. And so he starts working and he begins to lay the groundwork, but at some point along the way, he just stops. He just stops. But neighbors are walking by, and when they see this vacant lot, when they see that something is happening, they're like, wow, something really exciting is taking place here. What are they building here? I don't know about you, but I get excited when I see vacant plots, full of weeds, and then I see people working. I get excited by that. Wow, this is exciting. What is it going to look like? What is the house going to look like? But then he stops. One day he stops. And then the neighbors walk by, they go, what happened? What happened? Didn't the owner plan it? Didn't he count the cost? Weeks go by, months go by, years go by, nothing. Just unfinished. The project is unfinished. What does that vacant property represent now? It becomes a symbol of poor planning. Poor planning. That's what Jesus is saying. You want to be my disciple? You need to plan. You need to have a short-term view. You need to have a long-term view. What is it going to cost you? I do wonder how much we sacrifice. How much every one of us sacrifice to be a disciple of Christ on a daily basis. I feel like a lot of times we sacrifice Christ. It's at the expense of Christ. We do everything else. But what does Jesus say? You want to be my disciple? This is what he turned to the crowd who are following him, who are hyped up to follow him because he's seen this man do miracles. Amazing teachings. He's like, wait a minute. Hang on. I know you're following me, but you really want to be my disciple? You really want to be a disciple? Okay, you're gonna have to hate your parents, children, your wife. You may even lose your life. And the crowd's going, what? What? What is he saying? And he talks about this. The man who wants to build something big. What started with so much excitement ends up becoming a symbol of poor planning. That's the image Jesus is using. He's saying, no wise builder starts a project like that without sitting down and figuring out what it's going to cost, how many people it's going to take. What about energy required? Like how much effort is required, right? You do this at work, don't you? Don't you? If you don't do it, your supervisor asks you, okay, tell me how many resources, how much time, what is it going to cost? Everything is about that. Resources, time, and cost. Same applies. What is it going to cost you? And he's not really talking about houses here, is he? He's talking about your life. He's talking about following him. Discipleship isn't something you jump in because it feels right in the moment, just because you attended a course on discipleship. It's not about getting inspired on Sunday morning. I'm going to put on my best clothes and I'm going to go to church. You know what I call that? Sunday Christians. Because Monday through Saturday looks really different. Monday through Saturday doesn't look anything like Sunday. Sunday Christians. Jesus wants us to count the cost, not to scare us, but so we'll know what we are really saying yes to, because he's not looking for people who start and stop. You tracking with me? He's not looking for you as a Christian to start and stop. Like the man who wanted to build a tower. He just stopped. He doesn't want that. He wants us to think it through. Do the math. Do the math. He's looking for people who are willing to follow him all the way. All the way. Even when it's hard, even when it costs us something. He wants followers who finish well. We all need the grace to finish, don't we? We start so many things, but we rarely finish. Maybe that should be your prayer. God, give me the grace to finish. Give me the grace to finish well. Because that's what he's looking for. He's not looking for starter Christianity, like a starter pack. You know what I'm talking about? Like a starter pack. Here are 3 steps to become a Christian. Give your life to Christ, take water baptism, start attending church. Boom, done. You're good. He wants fully committed Christians who have thought it through. Then Jesus gives a second example, this time from the battlefield. He says, imagine a king who's about to go to war against another king. And he's saying, no wise ruler is going to say to himself, well, let's see. They have 20,000 people, soldiers, and we have 10,000, and we're just going to just go at them. No wise ruler would do that. He's going to sit down, talk to his wise counsel, and figure out, do I have an edge? Because I'm missing 10,000 soldiers. Do I have an edge? Is there a strategy that I can actually beat my enemy? And they have 10,000 more soldiers. He counts the cost. There's math behind it. And if he says to himself, after getting all the wise counsel, he says, no, we're not going to make it. What does he do? Still send the soldiers out to battle? No. He sends a representative to make peace. Instead of getting 10,000 of his soldiers murdered, he sends somebody to make peace. Jesus saying in the same way, you shouldn't jump into following him without first seriously thinking about what it's going to require, the real cost, the real sacrifice. I mean, isn't this why we honor our soldiers? Why do we honor our soldiers? Like really, why do we honor our soldiers who are taking care of our borders, taking care of us, who are protecting us? You know why? Because they've counted the cost. That's really why. We honor them because they've counted the cost. And they've left everything familiar, everything comfortable. And they're on a mission. That's why we honor them. What they gave up to give us freedom. That's why we honor them. Because here's the thing, the road of discipleship is more like a battle than a vacation. If you are a Christian and you feel like it's just easy breezy, you're not a Christian. Because it should feel like a battle. It's more like war. You're going to face resistance. From where? From armies? No. From yourself. You're going to face resistance from yourself, your desires, your thoughts, your wants, your needs, from culture, spiritual opposition, and from the part that still wants to hold on to control. And if you don't count the cost up front, if you're not willing to lay everything down, you might walk away when it gets hard. And that's why a lot of people have walked away from the faith, because they never counted the cost. So Jesus invites us to think like a wise builder. He's inviting us to think like a wise king, to step back and ask, am I ready for this? Am I willing to surrender everything? Because the call to follow Jesus is not casual, it is complete. He wants all of you. All of you. You know, virtually every meaningful accomplishment in life comes at a cost, doesn't it? What is true in the spiritual is also true in the natural. If you want to learn an instrument, just because you own piano or guitar or violin or whatever instrument, just because you own it, just because you have it in your house, doesn't mean you're going to be able to learn it. It comes at a cost. You got to push through when there's frustration. Daily practice, it may take you years. Decades to master, years to even get good at it. What about, parent? You want to be a good parent. Just because you have children doesn't mean you're a good parent. You may have to say no to certain work commitments so you could spend time with your children. You may have to say no to certain schedules so you can spend time with your children. You may have to wake up earlier, maybe several hours before you go to work so you could spend time with your kids before they go to school, because you come home really late. What if you want a well-maintained home? That comes at a sacrifice too. You got to budget for things before things go bad. And that's hard. You got to clean even when you don't feel like it. You got to count the cost. See, in all these areas, the pattern is the same. Real results come when we pause, count the cost, and decide to commit. Let me say that again. Real results come when we pause, when we count the cost, and commit. That is what Jesus is saying. Following him is no different. You can't drift into discipleship. It takes choice, decision, and a willingness to give him everything. So let me ask you one more time. Have you counted the cost? Have you counted the cost? Maybe you're new to all this. You're still exploring faith. You're new to church. What does it mean? What does it mean to follow him? I want you to know that Jesus isn't trying to scare you off. That's not his intention, to scare off the audience. No. In fact, the opposite is true. Following Jesus is the best decision you're ever going to make. But he wants you to count the cost. Maybe you've been around church for a while, but you've never truly surrendered. You think you've surrendered, but you've never truly surrendered. There's areas of your life you haven't completely let go of. Maybe you give, so you feel, I'm a giver. Maybe you've even served, so you feel like, wow, you feel good. But there are those hidden corners. There are those closets that you don't want anyone to open. You don't want to give Jesus access, because if he finds out, he already knows. So you haven't fully surrendered, but you feel good because you serve, you sing, you give. But Jesus doesn't have all of you. He has pieces of you, just pieces. Or maybe you've been around church for a while, but you're in the same boat. You're like that wise builder who started building, but you stopped. You were so excited once. You counted the cost once, but now you have stopped. You see, this message is for the seasoned Christians too, because you think that counting the cost is a one-time thing that you do. No, it's a daily process. You never stop. You never stop. Every day, you got to ask yourself, how am I going to live for Christ today? What steps do I take? What sacrifices I need to make? Friends, he's inviting you to go deeper, not just to admire him from a distance, but to walk with him daily, even when it's hard. Are you still building? Or did you stop? Are you still building? Are you fighting the right battles? Have you fully surrendered? Or have you started coasting? Wherever you are in your journey, Jesus is calling. And he's not calling for half-hearted followers. He's calling for hearts that are fully his, people who have looked at what it costs and say, yes, Lord, you're worth it. As I was reflecting on this passage, I couldn't help but think of my friend Rami. I was in my 20s when I traveled to a place called Ramallah. It's in the West Bank. And I met Rami. He was probably in his 50s at the time. Wonderful man. And I struck up a conversation, and I was so curious. I wanted to know what his life was like as a Christian in that part of the world. Just so much turmoil. And so we were talking, and he shared something that I never forgot. I even remember his words. He said to me that I was born and raised in Gaza, but because of the political situation, he felt stuck. He wanted to move forward. He wanted to give a better life for his wife and children, but he couldn't because of the political climate that he felt stuck. There was no way up, no way out. So he told me that he sat down with his family and he told them that he's going to run. That he was going to run. He was going to run away from the place that he loved, wife he loved, children he loved. He was going to move away, and that's what he did. He ran one night, as many do in that part of the world and many parts of the world. He ran and went to West Bank and started life from scratch and started sending money. And then he told me this I couldn't believe. I asked him, what about your family? And he said, at the time, he said, it's been 18 years since I've seen them. I talked to them over Skype. But it's been 18 years since he has seen them. And I couldn't believe what he was saying. It's like, Rami, but come on. And then he said these words. He said, Charles, I know what you're thinking, but I want you to know that even if I don't get a chance to see them, I'm content because I've counted the cost. Because of me running away from there, they now have a better life. My children have a better future. And my hope is one day I'll be able to take them out of there and go someplace. But right now, this is what I need to do. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I thought about this scripture portion then, and I thought about his story this week as I was preparing. He counted the cost. And he was content with his decision. You see, when you truly get to know Jesus, let me emphasize, when you truly get to know Jesus, you will realize that he's worth it. He's worth all the sacrifices. He's worth all the struggles. He's worth everything. And you know what that reminds me of? The story from parable from Matthew 13, I believe, where Jesus talks about The man who found what? Treasure in the field. And what did he do? He found it and then he hid it again. It's like, oh, hope no one's watching me. He hid it and then he ran. But you know what it says? In his joy. He was so joyful that he went and sold everything he had so he could come back and buy the land with the treasure in it. That's why I said, when you truly get to know Jesus, you will learn that he's worth it all. He's worth more than everything else.